of direction now. This has been a great day because we've got universities around here with some fantastic expertise, and we've got some businesses here also with some fantastic expertise. And hopefully after a day like today we're going to bring some of you together. And we, the Technology Strategy Board, in our various guises, and the KTN, we're all trying to do this. We're all trying to help you find each other. But what the Technology Strategy Board has is a number of mechanisms for enabling companies and universities and knowledge bases to work together. Now, Nick referred to the Knowledge Transfer Partnership Scheme a little earlier. So what I want to do is sort of step back from the actual science we've just been talking about and talk about another mechanism for bringing expertise into businesses. So again, it's business-led, very much so. And it's a scheme that's been around actually for more than 35 years. It used to be called the Teaching Company Scheme, if anybody has a memory that long. Of the companies here, could I ask anyone who's been involved in a KTP project to put their hands up? Nobody. Okay, of the academics here? Okay.
If you say TCS, then yes.
Sorry? TCS, Teaching Company Scheme, fine, yes. It's the same thing now.
Show my age.
That's all right, me too. Okay, so a lot of you may have heard of it but not been involved in it. So what I'd like to do today is just give you a flavour. And am I getting the cards as well, by the way?
No, I wasn't going to card you, but I can if you want.
No, that's all right. I'll keep talking all day. But the thing to remember is that the Knowledge Transfer Partnership Scheme is very much about supporting UK business. Now, some of the businesses here today are very young, very small. Probably we would say they're a little too young and too small for KTP, because it's all about an investment that you make in terms of, yes, some cash, but also the time to bring a person in who's going to undertake a project to take you, to transform your business, take you through some form of change, embed some new capability, embed some new expertise. That takes a bit of effort, takes a bit of cash, but it's worth it in the end, because we have some fantastic results from KTP projects. And what we're looking for always is to make sure that we are contributing to competitiveness, productivity and performance. Just to give you an idea of scale, this is now last year's numbers, but 34 million was provided in terms of grants to companies in a year. Now, majority of that is Technology Strategy Board funding, but we also have funding from the Scottish, Irish, Northern Irish and Welsh governments. We have funding from a whole range of the research councils, including BBSRC, and that all goes into one pot. Technology Strategy Board manages it, and I, as a KTP advisor, along with 24 colleagues across the country, help us at the front line to spot opportunities for KTP projects, to identify whether they fit our criteria, and then to help you with the proposal writing process. So again, the KTN was suggesting that the help they can give with things like the collaborative R&D bids, feasibility study bids. We have an infrastructure that's been in place for many years to help do that. So we're always happy to help and talk it through. What we're looking for here is an opportunity to see whether the Nutrition for Life call, which is around collaborative R&D and feasibility studies, will satisfy to some extent your desire to develop new products and processes. As James referred to, there's a sort of risky element to that we're looking for. We want to break new ground. But what KTP can do is pick it up and take it to market. So we are really picking up on the situation where you're ready to take it to market, but you just need to finalise exactly how you're going to do that, exactly what the products and processes need to be. It could be, I think someone earlier mentioned, a better understanding of current products and processes. So it may be that you are involved in some form of food manufacture and you don't quite know why a process works, or you don't quite know why it goes wrong. So we're happy to help support that scientific knowledge that's needed, developing new methodologies perhaps for, I mean, we've got the big issue about DNA testing and stuff like that. Well, companies are going to have to introduce new processes for that. They may have no knowledge of how to do that, they may have known how to do it before, so they need to understand how to do it, how to make it effective, how to make it cost effective, how to keep the traceable records. So it could be anything from the science to the data management that the company needs to have some help and support to develop. So part of what we're looking at is to see whether you can help us to express some demand for KTP projects to go alongside the collaborative R&D and feasibility studies. KTP operates on an open basis. Basically, we are open for applications at any time. We pull together those applications every 2 months. So whether or not you want to link it to this call, we can still support these kinds of projects, because I think all the subjects, all the topics that are covered in your scope document are absolutely squarely in TSB's criteria for things like KTP. So in a sense, you don't need to worry about all these timings and deadlines, because we're there. You know, we're not going away, hopefully. We've been around long enough now that we hope that we're going to hang around. So if it's not right just now, then even in 6 months or a year's time, it may be that KTP is the right thing for your business. So that's just to give you an idea. I'm talking here about, in the current year, we're funding something like 800 projects. We have some funding capacity to spare, but at the same time, that's covering a whole wide range of topic areas. All the priorities that TSB supports, KTP will support. So I think Nutrition for Life is one where we want to make sure, I mean, the food processing industry especially doesn't participate that much in KTP. So we'd really like to support more. I think it's a great way for us to promote it. Another aspect of KTP is, because we as advisors are holding your hands during the application process, we have something like an 80–85% approval rate for each application that goes in. So I know it's very competitive for some of these other forms of funding, so you won't be experiencing the same kind of approval rates. And it's really because we can get so deeply involved in that application process and advise you through it. And even advise you if it's not KTP, so that you don't waste time trying to develop something that wouldn't fit our criteria. Just to give you an idea, Nick had a form of this. We all have different forms of this whole sort of research through to exploitation diagram. What I wanted to do here was just to sort of pick up on, we have academic research at this end of the diagram. We have the technology being developed, we've got prototypes, we've got demonstrators being developed. And that starts to come into industry here to the point where we exploit as we get to this end. But if I look at how KTP fits, it's kind of fairly roughly at this top end, where we've got some technology already developed. And in some cases, we've heard from the universities that you've developed ways of doing things. Now we need to find out where the businesses need to embed that in their businesses. Well, that's where we start to pick up with KTP. We can start at the point of still finishing off some of that research. So there can be some bench work, some lab work at the beginning of a project, but we would expect to see by the end of the project that that is taken into business, that that's embedded in the business, it becomes part of business processes, and that there's genuine exploitation going to happen as a result of it. We'd expect to see that built into the work plan. So how does this all work? Well, philosophically, we use this proverb where it's not about research projects that sort of have a finish and an end, and you say, okay, well, we know that now, so what are we going to do next? It's not about consultancy where someone comes in, does a piece of work, leaves you with the outcome, and tends to walk away and leave you to it. It's not about recruiting somebody necessarily. I mean, hopefully you will do eventually from a KTP project, but as an alternative to straight recruitment, what KTP can bring is the opportunity to help a business do this for themselves, as opposed to having it done for them. So the way we do that is through this little model. I'll just talk my way through, and my apologies for facing it. So if I start with the business here, we've got a situation where the business has a strategically important issue, opportunity, problem to address, doesn't have the expertise to address it. So they look to a university or a research institute, because this can be RTOs or research institutes as well. And FE colleges, although not that many do participate, I must admit. So the partnership between the two is the mechanism for knowledge transfer, using a graduate, an associate, as a project manager to make it happen. So it's really important that we can see that this is led at the top level in the company, that it's important to them. We have a company supervisor nominated who oversees the delivery of the project. From the university, we have a lead academic involved plus an academic supervisor. Now, to us, the academic supervisor is the person that is the real expert, and they're going to spend half a day a week on this project. So it's quite a big commitment of time, but it's absolutely essential for the project to work, because you're the expert whose knowledge is going to be transferred using the associates' efforts to do that. And the funding model provides administrative support through the university as well. And the key person, the associate, the person is going to be recruited to come and work in the company. So they're located in the company, but they're employed by the university. Big advantage from the company point of view, you haven't got the paperwork to do. The university does all of that. But the fact that they're a university employee means that they have access to all the facilities there. So sometimes if there needs to be some lab work done, or if they need to take advantage of other forms of expertise in the university, we very much welcome multidisciplinary approaches to this, then they can do that. They can spend time there and do some of that. But the majority of the time we'd expect them to be based in the business. So that's kind of the model, that's how it works. This is the partnership, but we're looking for three-way benefits. And magically three-way benefits. So from the business point of view, we've got new knowledge and capability embedded. We're looking at enhancing their performance and profitability. Now this might be that the company's spotted an opportunity to, I don't know, to improve their current products and processes, or to develop new products and processes, to move into new markets. There's all sorts of reasons behind, drivers behind, that make a difference to the kind of expertise that they might want to access. But whatever happens, there's a good business case behind it. We go back to the Erica model, because it's entirely around exactly the same approach that we take. We're finding that the questions we've been asking for 35 years are now the same questions that are asked in lots of the other grant applications. So there's a lot of commonality there. But there should definitely be tangible benefits to the university as well. What we're hoping here is that the individuals that work on the project spend time in the business, so it gives you that commercial edge, that commercial understanding. You become a friend to the business, so you get to know them. From that, we would hope that it would develop your personal knowledge and enhance your professional development. That there will be publications coming out of it. The level of innovation that we're looking at should be at the level where good quality academic publications would come from it, joint publications. That it could enhance your research applications in the future. That it'll enhance your teaching materials, case studies. You can build real life situations into your teaching. And if you're looking at ref reporting, then impact. KTP just fits exactly into that. The income the university gains from the KTP project, and I'll just come to the model for that in a moment, is counted as research income, so that's another good advantage for you guys. But we know that a lot of KTP projects are being used as part of the ref reporting. So perhaps not this round, but the next round, if you get any KTPs coming over the next year, you'll find that it'll help you with that. So from the associate point of view, just explain how this works. The two partners will come together and, with our blessing, we'll develop a proposal, submit it, and we will organise all of that. Every university has a KTP office, or somebody who acts as the KTP office manager. In Scotland, the model is that I think there are 2 centres who will do four centres, I beg your pardon, who will do all of that as well. And I've included how you can find those in the slide set. Make the application, it only takes 3 weeks to get a reply. Assuming it's been approved, you are then open to jointly recruit the person on the open market. So you'll advertise as you normally would for any job, and that person will be selected from the applicants. You'll go through a normal interviewing process jointly, so the academic is likely to be judging their technical capabilities. The company will be deciding whether they will fit with their culture, whether they're somebody that they feel they can work with. But the associate is going to get a lot out of this because we include costs for training. We include some management training as a standard. If they don't have a high degree, then they can go for a high degree. They have to be a graduate to be recruited in the first instance. If you need to, you can stipulate a master's graduate. If you need to, you can also stipulate a postdoc. Depends on the level of, if you like, scientific knowledge that you require. They're going to learn new skills and knowledge. If they've not spent much time in a commercial environment, then they'll be gaining all of that because they're taking responsibility for a project where we want to see that they understand how that commercial benefit is going to be delivered and take responsibility for doing so. Inevitably, therefore, their employability is enhanced. More than 70% stay with the company afterwards. Not all, but some, but majority do. So I think lots of benefits coming out of that three-way. So the features, and again these slides are available so you can come back and look at these afterwards if you wish. We can do projects between 6 months and 3 years. There's a slightly different application process if it's less than a year, but that's, we'll help you through that process. Again, the 6-month end is much likely to be sort of feasibility, investigative studies in the first instance. And possibly you could use that to decide whether to do a longer one. The Spark Award, for example, is a way you could potentially think about making connection with the university to explore whether a KTP is something you ought to do as a follow-on. There's all sorts of little ways and means that you can actually make these funding opportunities help each other. The associates are recruited by both partners, they're employed by the academic partner, they're located at business premises, and the academic supervisor spends half a day a week at the business premises. Very, very important for that partnership to gel, to work well. When we're looking at project criteria, I haven't got an ERICA acronym there, but there's a lot of the same kind of questions, that this should be about something that's strategically important to the business, that's innovative, that's going to be stimulating and challenging to the academic team and to the associate, that there's a good, sound business case, that it's going to deliver the growth capability for the business. Up to, we're happy to look at that happening after the end of the project. I think sometimes during a project it's quite hard to see that there'll be new profits coming into the business. Clear additionality with high impact, and the benefits are likely to accrue. In a sense, the really tiny micro businesses are the ones where we might feel that that's going to be too much of a risk. So, it's not impossible, but it's at the more risky end of a KTP project to do something in a very small company. Company size actually can be large as well as small. If a large company gets involved, then we expect them to involve some of the smaller companies in their supply chain, and that I think is a particularly useful route for us for the Nutrition for Life in a way, because some of the really big companies dominate the food industry. So encouraging them to involve their smaller companies, or even for them to encourage the smaller companies to do KTP projects, is perhaps a way to enhance that. Now, to give you a feel for project budgets, because we don't know how long a project's going to be, we sort of work on it as an annual budget. So it's roughly 65,000. I can't be exact because every university has slightly different costing structures. It includes an element for training, an element for travel and subsistence, and an element for equipment and consumables. So that's already built in. So an SME is going to contribute a third of that, so around about 22,000. So they have got to have that as cash to put on the table. The funding is managed by the university, so the university does all the paying of the bills, paying of the people. Want me to stop now? And, right. What I will do is very quickly just show you what's in the slides so that you can see what's available. I'm just going to go on to some of the case studies. There's about 10, I think, of slides now that are going to show you some projects that are underway at the moment or have just finished. So you can see there that even a research organisation has a KTP. They are a company partner in that situation. British Dietetic Association. This is the Produce World, one of the biggest growers, doing a project to map all the soil in every field at field level, and the 17,000 hectares that they have. James Hutton, you guys are here. Fertiliser company. Ian and Tesco were looking at novel rearing strategies to improve the health and welfare of dairy calves. So they influence what goes on. Genius Foods, so bread and bakery, country kitchen, interaction of fresh vegetables mixed with clean label mayonnaise. So we've got a lot of subject areas. I don't know whether this is a franchise from your original, I forgot where, I've lost whoever it was. The Village Bakery. I've lost, where it, oh, there you are. No. They pitched the idea or something. But just to show you. So there were a few examples. Ella's Kitchen, which we see on the this is dog food, so even they want to improve what they do. There's the contact details. There's lots more slides that provide some of the detail that I've already spoken about. So do please have a look, and you're very welcome to get in touch. It tells you how to do that as well.